Welcome back. You're with us on the jury round special of the CNBC TV 18 Overdrive Awards for the year 2014. It's now time to award excellence on two wheels. Now I have with me Shumi. Those of you who've been following Overdrive know that he is our resident expert on motorcycles. Shumi, before we go into our list of contenders for the motorcycle segment, tell us, how has 2013 been for the automotive market here in India?
It's been kind of a strange year because it didn't start off very well, and towards the end, by the time the festive season came around, the sales were pretty good, especially compared to the last couple of years. In terms of product, I think it's been a very interesting year. We've got a lot of new products that not just do good things in their current segments, but things that open out new segments. Towards the end of the year, the action got a little more hectic when Triumph got here. It's very unfortunate that they couldn't get us a bike here for the jury, so they're not part of the awards this year. But I think it's been a fantastic year, and from whatever we're hearing, next year is going to be even better.
Well, thanks for that, Shumi. This year we have a different jury for the Bike of the Year award. So before we head into the contenders list, let's take a look at our jury members. Shubhabrata Marmar, or Shumi, heads all two-wheeler testing for Overdrive, and with 13 years of testing experience, he's the most experienced two-wheeler specialist in the country today. Anand Dharmraj is the CEO of Indy Motard, a firm that runs motorcycle tours, drag schools, and Bangalore's coolest motorcycle garage. Bharat Reddy is the CEO of British Nutritions and a motorcycle enthusiast with a huge collection of motorcycles. When not in office, he's usually found on the racetrack. Sarath Kumar is India's top motorcycle racer, national champion, and the only Indian to have raced in the MotoGP Championship in the Moto3 category. Siddharth Trivelaw is the Director of Operations of Maya Appliances. Born into a motorcycling family, he's also responsible for bringing in the California Superbike schools into India, one of the most thorough motorcycle riding schools in the world. Vijay Parmar heads Himalayan Motorsports and has been the man behind the Raid de Himalaya since its inception. He's the only jury member evaluating both cars and bikes at the awards.
I think the styling of the Continental GT is the highlight of the motorcycle for me, because before you ride it, before you see what the key looks like, before you get a sense of the spec sheet or anything, you look at it and you're instantly in love with it.
When you look at it, your heart immediately takes over and says, this is a really cool bike, I want to have one of these. And then you get on it and you start riding, and when you really get going over 80 kilometers an hour, it gets very uncomfortable to ride. From that point of view, I'm a little bit disappointed. I wish for the price that the bike comes in at, it was more refined.
The handling, I think, has a lot of room in terms of improvement. Although the styling and the kind of position for a cafe racer sort of is appealing, the motorcycle itself, I don't think it really handled very well. It's something that probably needs a little bit of work in terms of the handling part of it. Also in terms of the vibrations that you feel on the handlebars around you, and as you're sitting on this motorcycle, it's definitely not comfortable for a long distance ride or anything that's going around the racetrack as such for more than a couple of laps. And that sort of puts a damper in terms of what I would see is from a performance standpoint on the motorcycle.
KTM, when you look at it, it takes you back to your hooligan inside you. As soon as you look at it, you want to go and ride and have fun with it. And the power delivery is amazing, the engine is smooth, the build quality is nice.
So as soon as you get on the KTM and you ride it at the racetrack, you're like, yeah, the ergonomics could have been better, and you're not quite sure whether your feet are in the right place and whether your hands are falling in the right place or not. But give it 20-30 minutes of acclimatization time, and then you realize that the 390 is actually an incredibly fast motorcycle to ride, and it's an incredibly easy motorcycle to ride.
Very, very quick. It just gets out from under there, and it's definitely a bike for the more mature, sport-minded motorcyclist, and not really for the commuter.
Once I got on the bike, I didn't feel like getting off. I think it's brilliant in most ways. There's very little bad things I could say about the bike. As far as value for money, I think it's priced really well. Everything, the acceleration, the power, the braking, the handling, the balance of the bike, everything feels really good. If I had to nitpick, I would say you know, in high-speed corners, if there are quick changes in direction, it's a bit unstable, but nothing that, you know, a small suspension upgrade wouldn't take care of. Overall, the styling, I think it's brilliant. I think it's aggressive. It's an excellent street bike styling to have if you're into that sort of thing.
A lot of people, I think, can't even differentiate between the 200 and the 390 unless you look at the sticker. So a stickering on the tank isn't exactly clear to say, oh, you know, this is a 200 or the 390 because it looks exactly the same.
Power-wise, I can say it's like a devil bike. You know, wherever you open, whenever you open the gas, it's like devil power coming, very raw power. Because I cannot feel the drop also, RPM drop also. It's always maintaining the RPM. If I am maintaining 6,000 also, when I am opening throttle, suddenly it's coming to 10,000, 11,000 RPM. So that's very important for bike. I never feel that kind of power in any bike in India. So this is the first bike I am seeing this kind of power.
Given the power that it kind of makes and the bigger engine, I just seriously wish it was more of a sort of bigger motorcycle in terms of the ergonomics.
The Mahindra Centuro completely surprised us. Even here at the racetrack, where a 100cc motorcycle is not something you'd really like to be riding, everybody seems to have a really good time on the Centuro. Yes, it's maxed out the whole time at the racetrack. But what the engine can't give you, the chassis does.
I think its handling was really a surprise. I didn't expect it to handle like that on the corners, and it kept a line.
Centuro comes in at the same price range as the Bajaj we have here, and you know, when you look at it, I think it's 500 rupees more, I was told, and you know, for that much money, the amount of stuff put into the bike, it's quite impressive. I just hope, like for example, you know, the key fob is nice and very cool. You know, many cars don't have key fobs like that. It comes with immobilizers. It has a very nicely well laid out digital dash, and you know, it's a very good motorcycle as far as options go at the price range that it comes at.
Mahindra Centuro, I think that bike is really good value for money. For what it is, a commuter bike, I think it does its job well.
This bike, of course, major work they're having with the gearing, because for the bike, gearing is very, very important. This is again, they can ride very small state or small villages, but if they want to ride a little bit longer distance, means very difficult. So they have to work on gear ratios.
Disappointed with the lack of the front disc brakes. It's still using a drum brake, which I think most motorcycles have moved away from. Most cars have obviously moved away from. That's something that I don't think any motorcycle today has. But for the price point, maybe that's what people look at.
It's still not the best in the segment, I think, but I think Mahindra have come a long way with their motorcycles, and if this is how they're going to make their motorcycles, their next one will be quite a motorcycle to ride.
Coming up after this break, the rest of the nominees for the Bike of the Year award for 2014.